My name is Joe Peroni, and this is the Rise Above Project. I want to continue my talk about inflation. I want to get a little bit more detail right now, but I want to take this one step at a time because inflation is one of those subjects that is very confusing for a lot of people, and it probably should be because what you hear out of politicians and what you hear on the news, most of it is slanted in different directions, whatever side that they're trying to shill for. And also, they don't give you all of the information anyway. So let's go over this. Again, inflation right now is at 2.87%. Historically, we're looking at a good inflation rate to be at about 3.3%. Therefore, do we have an inflation problem? Absolutely not. So why are we talking about this? Well, because the truth here is that if you go to the store, you're going to find out that prices are very high. They're remaining to be high, and sometimes they're even still going up. So what is happening here? Well, there's a lot of things going on. But again, I want to focus down on one thing at a time. So here are some of the things that we need to know. After the pandemic, inflation was at 9.1%. And that is high. And that is a problem. However, over the last few years, it's been tracking down to the 2.87% that I've already mentioned. However, does anybody out there notice prices going down? No, you don't, because they're not. So again, is this an inflation problem? Absolutely not. It's a high price problem, but why are prices high? So let's take a look at this. Two extremely important things you need to know before you start making decisions in your own life and also making political decisions and who you think you want to vote for. So number one, as we speak presently, right now, corporations are making record profits. That's number one. Number two, oil companies are making record profits. So when we know this, when we know that millionaires and billionaires are making more money than they ever have before, and they keep their prices high, it's not an inflation problem, technically. What is it? Well, what we could say is that when we talk about economics, we're not just talking about numbers. You could say that economics is also morality. And I would say, and many people would say, is that we have a morality problem. People are they're expecting to pay more, and so these corporations don't care. So what they'll do is they keep raising prices or keeping them high. And they wait for all the people in the middle and the lower classes to complain about it. And then they blame other people, but they never blame the corporations who are getting richer by the second. How can they do this? We'll get into that later in terms of what we choose to spend our money on. And agreed already that we have to spend things on, we have to spend money on food, right, and water. Those are necessities. We have to do that. But these companies know that, so they take advantage of that. And how are they able to do this easier? Something else you need to know, very important. We're not supposed to have monopolies in this country, but we essentially do. For example, there's only 4 meat packing companies in all of the United States. We can look at Walmart. They own 72% of warehouse clubs. We can look at pharmaceutical companies, health insurers, athletic shoes, defense contractors, airlines, railroads, you name it. What they've done is they've merged with other big companies. And what happens there? They merge with other big companies, and so there's less competition. Look at it like this. Let's say you're a little kid and you're selling lemonade on your corner, whatever, in front of your house. There's some other kid on the other side of the street also selling lemonade. You're selling yours for $1 a glass. The other person across the street is selling it for $10. You essentially have the same product. Who's going to make all the sales? You are, because you're selling it for cheaper. But this is the way it works in big business. These people know each other. They collude with each other. They merge together so there is no competition, so they can raise the prices as much as they want. I'll do another show on this later. But if you think you're going to the store and you're buying a drink, for example, from all these different companies, you're not. PepsiCo and Coca-Cola own about 20 other companies. They own the water companies. They own the other soft drink companies. And so what you're thinking is that you're choosing from one company to another, but you're not. It's the same company. So therefore, they can raise the prices to pretty much anything they want. I'll give you an example of my hometown, or not hometown. My hometown is in Boulder, Long Island, but I live in Las Vegas right now. Near me, within a half a mile, there used to be a supermarket called Vons. Vons closed, so that's not there anymore. Still though, within a half a mile of my house, there's a Smith's, which is owned by Kroger's, and then you have Albertsons. All right, so what's in the making right now as we speak? Well, Kroger's, who owns Smith's, is going to be buying Albertsons. So when that happens, in Las Vegas, when you see these Republicans complaining about inflation, when it's not an inflation problem, it's a high price problem from rich billionaires who own everything, what's going to happen is Kroger's is going to buy Albertsons. When that happens, there's essentially only going to be one major supermarket in Las Vegas. Do you think prices are going to go up? Absolutely. Why would they go down? There's no reason for it to go down. And so here we have the problem. We have, again, to go over this again, and I don't want to just repeat this because I do know I'm repeating it, by the way, but I want you to hear this because on the news, they never give you the real information. There is no inflation problem. The problem is that we have greedflation. We have billionaires that are overcharging, and then they buy up other companies so they don't have competition. And then they could charge whatever they want. And then politically what happens is you can get somebody, say like Kamala Harris, who proposed that she wants to penalize companies that are price gouging. Doesn't that make sense to every single person that's listening to this? Every person in the United States should be able to understand that price gouging is a problem. For example, during Hurricane Katrina, if there were very few places that had bottled water, you could literally, because there's supply and demand, there's not a lot of clean, fresh water, but yet there's thousands upon thousands of people who need water. So you can technically, if you own a store, say this bottle of water right here is going to cost you $500. Either drink it or die. That's illegal. You can't do that in the United States. But people, Republicans, are going to cry and complain, and they're going to use the word communism and everything else. But it's not that. It's just being a decent person with morals. So who out there logically doesn't believe that these corporations, they shouldn't have penalties go against them for price gouging? I think we can all agree that that's something that we should do. So let me keep the show short. This is one of the problems with why prices are high right now. And again, if you want to be a Republican and stay Republican and you just want to go down that route, and there's people in my own family that just love Donald Trump, know this: when you complain about food prices, you are literally going along with the political party who supports corporations and these billionaires and doesn't even want them to pay taxes. There are about 1,000 billionaires inside the United States. Think about that. 1,000 billionaires inside the United States. You want to know what they pay on their taxes on average? 8%. That's insane. That's lower than what the average person in the United States pays. So why we put these billionaires on pedestals. We don't let them pay taxes, and then when they keep their prices high, even though that there's no inflation, we look and we blame Democrats for inflation. Listen, if you want to target somebody, if you want to put the blame on somebody, make sure you're putting it in the right direction. And if you're not putting it in the right direction, it's just plain ignorance, and you need to know the truth. Here's the truth. Again, one more time. Inflation, 2.89%. But why are prices so high? Part of it is because greedflation. These corporations are making so much money. They're making more money than they ever have before, and they will continue to, because there's a political party out there that's blaming everybody else except for where the problem is. So why would they ever lower their prices? They don't have to. And everybody who puts in a vote for Donald Trump is saying, please keep these prices high. I want to support my local billionaires. Anyway, my name is Joe Peroni. This is the Rise Above Project. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I did. Thank you.